Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Nanny. Let me adjust this because my lighting is crazy. Hold on just a second. Okay, now that's better. Okay, so how is everyone this evening? Hi, Sarah. How are you? Tonight, we are going to be talking about nanny taxes. Yes, it's that season again for nanny taxes. And oh my goodness, when you start thinking about the taxes, and hi Deidre, and you start thinking about what can I deduct, what can I not deduct. So these are the things that Kathy is going to go over with us and tell us about. Hi Jasmine, our special guest tonight and hi Naomi, is Kathy Webb from Homework Solutions. And she is going to tell us all about all things nanny taxes. And without any further delay, we're going to invite her on. See what she has to tell us all about nanny taxes. I thought I heard her come on.
You got me?
No, actually, it says adding. Okay. I can hear you,
Well, that's
but I
good.
can't see you.
That's the most important part anyway, is hearing
Here
me.
you come. Okay, so now, yay! We got you. Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing?
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Are you sure?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on. I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Well, I will go look at
Okay,
my microphone
let's
settings
try it
again.
again. Okay, how about I take you out and then bring you back on?
Sounds
Okay?
good.
Okay, let's try this one more time. Let's see. Now, where did she go? Okay, hang on. Now my phone won't go backwards. Ah! Hold on a second. Um, let's see. My phone won't swipe, so I can't get back to my beginning page. I'll try it this way. Okay. There we go. Okay. For some reason, it is not. I don't know. We're caught up somewhere in the internet world, Kathy. I can't see you. I can't see any comments. Okay. Lord Jesus. Let's see. What is going on? There we go. It's moving slowly. But we got it. Okay, it says video mode only. But it won't let me bring you somewhere. There we go. Okay. Hopefully we got you this time, Kathy. Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, can you hear me this time?
Yes.
Good, good, good.
Okay, I don't know. We got caught up in the internet somewhere between me and you, somewhere in between. So while we have you live, go.
Awesome. Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself outside of the office, should I say?
Well, I guess the most exciting thing outside the office these days is I'm a new grandmother for the third time.
Ah,
So,
congratulations.
so I've been out of town, loving on a baby for a little bit.
Oh, that's the most precious
So,
thing.
yep.
So, tell us. So, my first question for you is: am I classified as a nanny? Am I classified as an independent um, contractor, or am I classified as a household employee?
Okay, that's a very common question. Um, the quick answer is you're a household employee, but most important is understanding why.
Okay.
Um, an employee takes direction from the person that they work for. They're subject to control. The family that they work for tells them when they're supposed to work, how they're supposed to do certain tasks, um, sets the rate of pay for the worker,
Uh-huh.
and most importantly, in the case of the nanny, is you're not free to send substitutes anytime you want to. You can't decide, I don't want to go this week and I'm going to send my friend Mary Jane to
Right.
take care of that baby the way an independent contractor could do. An
Right.
independent contractor, it only has to get the work done. They're not required to do it themselves. So when a family
Okay.
tries to classify you as an independent contractor, what they are doing in reality is trying to skip out on paying their share of employment taxes. Because while you see your
Ah,
paycheck and you see that you get Social Security and Medicare taken out, they pay a matching share as well as unemployment taxes and in many cases workers' comp insurance. So
okay.
they're trying to save themselves the 10% extra on top of your paycheck that the taxes are adding on. What that's
Okay.
really doing though to you is it's keeping you from getting unemployment benefits when the job ends. It's denying you the protections of workers' comp if you get hurt while you're on the job, and you might think that that's far-fetched, but it truly does happen routinely, especially when you're wrestling toddlers in and out of the back seats of cars, dragging strollers upstairs in apartments and the like. It's easy to be hurt. So yes, you're an employee. It's settled law. It's not a matter of opinion. The IRS even has its own publication for how to deal with household employees. They wouldn't write up a book about it if they weren't a thing.
We get a whole book.
Yes, you do. It's called Publication 926.
Okay, remember that, ladies, publication 926. Okay, so my next question for you is, why is it important for us to be paid on the books?
Well, it goes back to a little bit of what I just said before. When you're paid on the books, you get certain legal protections. You get the
Okay.
protections of unemployment insurance. Every single nanny job on the planet ends. It has an expiration date. It might be when the baby goes to preschool. It might be when the child goes to elementary school. It might be when the child goes to college. But at some point in time, that job will end. And when it ends, you're entitled to the protections of the wage replacement that unemployment insurance will give you.
Okay.
Additionally, depending upon how you feel on the subject of Social Security, you are building credits for your eventual retirement income by paying into the Social Security system. And you get those added protections of things like workers' comp insurance. So that if you are hurt, your medical bills and part of your wages will be replaced by that insurance policy.
Okay.
So it's a pretty big deal.
Yes, and you will get hurt. I personally got hurt last March lifting a child out of the crib. He's 2 years old, and he was wiggling. He sleeps in a sleep sack, and he was wiggling, and he kicked his leg, and I turned my head, and something snapped, and I ended up having a pinched nerve, and was out of work for a whole week, and then
Yeah,
I had to go to the chiropractor. So
right. It
get paid on the
happens.
books. It
Right.
does happen. It happens to the best of us and the worst of us. So it happens. Just trust me. It could possibly happen. Now, my next question is, do I still need to file my taxes even if I'm not paid on the books?
Yes. But income taxes are always the responsibility of the person that earns the income.
Okay.
So whether you got a W-2 form or not, it's your responsibility to pony up your share for the income taxes. Now, I will tell you though that if you weren't paid on the books and you don't have a W-2 form, there is a way that you can file and get yourself out of the Social Security tax obligation for self-employment tax. We
Oh,
have I can get it for you. I don't have it off the very top of my
okay.
head, but we have a sample form on our website filled out with exactly how to fill this out and submit it with your tax return so that you can save the 7.5% that the family should be paying themselves. The IRS will go collect it from them.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
So the form that we fill out, we fill it out and we turn it in with our taxes. And
Yes.
it gets us out of their percentage because I know we pay
Right.
and they pay a percentage and the IRS will come after them.
Correct.
Now, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Go
If
for it.
we file and we put their name and their address on our taxes and we fill out this form, can they fire us?
They can. Yep.
But can we go after them if they fire us?
Depends what state you live in.
Okay.
Because that would be a state protections. In most states, in Texas, for example, you're at will, which means that they can fire you, for looking cross-eyed at them. They could fire you for being late. They could fire you for no reason whatsoever, just because it struck them that that's what they wanted to do that day.
So it's
So, yeah, but typically when we see nannies doing this, filling out the forms that way, it's because the situation's already gone south anyway. I mean, how often have you been in a situation where the family says, oh yeah, we'll get you on payroll, and it's like 2 weeks and then it's 4 weeks and you're going, well, when are we going to get this started? And they, oh, we're looking into it. I'm waiting for a call back from my accountant. And it goes on and on and on. And before you know it, the job creep has gone. What you were doing, what you were supposed to be doing and what they're expecting you to do are two totally different things. And you go, wait, this is not for me. And you move on. And if the situation has already ended, it's much easier for you to rat them out.
okay. Okay. All right. So that was just when you said that was just a concern of mine. And now that I know that Texas is an at-will state, even if we have a contract.
Yep. Your contract is just, your contract doesn't obligate them to keep you working for a period of time. Or let me put it this way, it should not obligate either them or you to work for a period of time. A good contract doesn't do that. All it does is sets out the terms and conditions of the employment that's being offered, and it may or may not have a section for termination, which requires notice. So I always recommend that there be a mutual notice
Oh,
provision
I
in a
help with
contract.
mine. I help with
Right. So that if the family wants to let you go, they give you 2 weeks notice or 2 weeks pay in lieu of notice.
Okay.
And if you want to leave the family, you should give them 2 weeks notice too.
Okay.
Fact of the matter is notice provisions really aren't enforceable, but at least if you've got it on a piece of paper, you've got something to argue about.
Okay. Okay. So in Texas, it may or may not hold up. Oh,
That just that one piece.
just the.
But really when you do that, what you're doing is it's a goodwill gesture on both parties' parts.
Okay. Okay. So my next question is, do you have some tips on how to present to my employer if I'm not getting paid on the books and I want to present something to my employer and say, well, I know I haven't been paid on the books, but here's this article or here's a piece of paper.
Well,
How do we?
if you go to our website homeworksolutions.com and in the search bar type in why nanny wants to be paid legally, we have a tip sheet that's written up for nannies to do just that, to hand to families.
Oh,
But generally speaking, it's a matter of education. It's
okay.
not a matter of ill will. That's been my experience. Not
Okay.
100%, but generally speaking, the family just doesn't really know what to do, and introducing them to resources that help them understand what their obligations are and how it all works is one of the easiest ways to get them flipped over into, like, look, we have some nannies that have been on our payroll for years and years, yet they've worked for 4 or 5 different jobs, because every time they move jobs, they say, look, this is, they tell their employer, I want to be paid legally. These
Hmm.
people make it easy. I get my paycheck every 2 weeks, goes right into my bank account. I'm happy. You're taken care of. Let's do it this way. And it happens, just
Oh,
gets taken care of. The family needs to understand that they have a lot of liabilities if they are paying you off the books. For example, if you were hurt on the job and it was worse than a pinched nerve, and there was expensive medical bills and lost wages, and they didn't have workers' comp insurance, they can be um, held personally financially accountable for all of those expenses.
ah,
So the hospital will come after them because they were the employers. You, as the injured worker, could come after them for the lost wages because you were the injured worker. It can snowball. Unemployment claims are the most common way a family gets ratted out, because once you've lost that job and it's a question of filing for unemployment to make your rent or your
right.
car payment or whatever, versus being a nice person and continuing to accept being paid off the books, you file for that unemployment check because you're looking for work. You can't find it. It's your right to have that protection, and they get ratted out right away. The IRS has agreements with state unemployment agencies in 32 or 33 states now. Whereas if the state gets the claim, and they can't find a record of the employer in their system, they first go after the employer for their chunk of change, and there's a formal reporting mechanism set up to let the IRS know so that they could go after them for their chunk of change. This started about 2011 or 12 with about 10 states, and they just keep signing on,
Wow. Now,
because the IRS catches people too. And if the IRS catches someone, they have a formal mechanism to let the state know, hey, you go get your money from them now too.
oh, so they get a double whammy.
It's a two-way street. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have a suggestion, nannies. Get the form, put it in your mini portfolio when you go and interview with the family. That way, when they open that mini portfolio and they can see this is your standard, this is the contract, and whatever else you put in there, make sure that form is in there so that your parents will know, here it is. I laid it out. I made it easy for you. It's easy as one, two, three. Just click.
And we have a toll-free number, and we have consultants available to answer the phone and talk to people. They don't charge them anything to talk to them, and they'll get them up to speed. And the phone gets answered by a live person, 8:30 to 7 every weekday, Eastern time.
Great, great, great. That works for me. Okay, so my next question is, do I have to do I have to have receipts for everything that I report as deductible?
Um, Technically, you should. There's some de minimis expenses, things that are, it's harder to keep track of spending than it is. For example, if you throw 75 cents into a toll booth while you're driving the child to work every day, if you just record that in a log, you don't need a physical piece of paper that says that.
Okay.
Okay. I will say though, this whole talk about deductions, with the changes in the tax law,
Uh-huh.
I find it highly unlikely that nannies are really going to be in a position where they're itemizing anything,
Right. Right.
because the standard deduction is going to be so high. that there's no way you pay enough expenses here, there, and everywhere
This is
to
true.
make it worth your while to itemize.
This is true. Now,
The common things that you can itemize are like if you had to buy a car seat for your car to transport the children, that's clearly, an expense. If you do professional development, if you go to Nanny Palooza or INA or conferences like that, and you really should save the conference programs for those. I will tell you because the IRS doesn't recognize like who are that, what is Nanny Palooza, or who is the INA. So save your conference program as evidence of the educational
what?
content of the program that you were at.